Hey team, Wade Wyant here with Red Wagon Advisors. And over the past few months, I've been asking myself, what can I do to help, especially last month as things in this world have just continued to get more and more stressed around race equity and some of the challenges we still have here in the U.S. In that some of those challenges are being seen around police reform, education reform, and even judicial or the court reforms and the way we work with people. And I really can't do a lot there other than vote with my dollar and vote with my vote. And I was trying to figure out as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, a coach, someone who works with businesses every day and does a lot of advising. How could I help? How could my team help? We thought the best thing we could do is listen. And I wanted to put my words into action. And so we've gone out, we've reached out to some business leaders that I know, African American business leaders that I know in the community, and I've asked them to do a video series with me where I'll just be mostly listening, talking a little bit, but mostly listening and asking some key questions around what can businesses do better and how can businesses help. We cannot necessarily go in and reform the police, but we can give suggestions, we can give ideas, we can make recommendations, but we can also do other things. And I wanted to hear it directly from the community that's affected the most. And so I've gone out there and done the interviews. And so this is one of those interviews, and I really would ask you to tune into other ones and see what we were able to collect, some of these ideas. And more than anything, listen and take notes, because I think there's so much more as business leaders we can do. We just don't always know what to do. So I appreciate you watching this video, and I can't wait to get your response and hear what you're doing to try to help along some of the challenges we have here in the U.S. and just to make things better in general. What have you seen? The next question is, what has business or even business leaders, what have they done right in the past years? What have we, the last, say, 10 years, 20, however far back do you want to get? What have we gotten right that we can not necessarily celebrate, but at least say, you know what, we've made some strides, and then we can use that as an example of what we may have gotten right.
I mean, we're doing it right here, aren't we?
That's true.
You
Good
know,
point.
and that's the thing is like there's a lot more conversations taking place. And even if we just look at the last 2.5, 3 months or so, there's a lot of conversations. And I personally have been reached out to through a few groups like here in Charlotte looking for information or direction or guidance to help assemble content that can then be disseminated out to help other groups, non-Black groups, have access to information that can help them understand their role in helping, us and being, I think, more connected to what's happening, and then also make people more aware of the different issues that we have that have been going on within the Black community, and then how other communities can support our community going forward, so that we get to a place to where there is a lot more unity. And for a lot of people within the Black community, they haven't felt like there's a lot of unity there. And I think with the holidays, like you mentioned, it was more like, I think what's happened, if you look at the story of the African American in America, right? And I look
Sure.
at grandparents and I look at kind of what they experienced growing up, in the 20s and 30s
Oh,
and
it's terrible.
in the
Yeah.
South, and like the things that they experienced, and me being raised by grandparents, I got access to like a lot of wisdom that they experienced that, if it was my parents, it would be different. But because of their generation, there's all these stories and information that I got that kind of made me understand my place and my role in America as a Black man, and my role in spaces that I would enter in where I would be the only one, right?
Sure.
So you work in IT, you know how IT in
Yeah.
Midwest around that time, right? I mean, it's just I didn't see a lot of
Oh,
me, but because of my grandfather, I understood that I represented the possibility for someone coming after me, that when I entered that space, it was up to me to be the best I could be in that space, because
yeah.
there would be a future me in the future. And if I didn't do the best I could, how I handled this could tarnish or make it harder for someone
Sure.
else to look like me to get into that
Yeah.
space. And so
Yep.
I think with the holidays, it was really like if you look at the Black American story, a lot of us haven't felt included in America. And I think what the holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King was about was more about that. Like we want to feel connected to this American story in a way,
Yeah.
right? And it was like a recognition of someone who was so important to our community and so important to the civil rights movement was like a huge step for us to feel more included in the American story. And I think that's where a lot of that came from, as far as our community was concerned about. For America to recognize a holiday of someone who was African American was huge,
Yeah.
and to have that be a national thing and have companies follow suit and basically look at that as a national holiday was important.